Greetings, everyone. My name is Tom Shelton, and I teach at Westminster Choir College, which is in the United States, specifically New Jersey. I'm thrilled to be at the Rovdo International Choral Competition this year, and I'm going to share two sessions with you. Both are relatively short. The first one is strategies for working with children's choirs. I'm going to start with what is your philosophy, because I think it's really important to reflect on who we are on the inside and how that affects us as teachers and conductors. The first phrase, and I found several proverbs, phrases, quotes that I think are important and kind of make up who I am or what I believe. So the first one is, if you can walk, you can dance. If you can talk, you can sing. I think everybody can sing. I think there are, of course, different levels of talent, but I think everyone has a God-given gift of singing. And if people feel good about what they're doing, then they will work harder and be able to improve vocally. Where there is great love, there are always miracles. I think that as musicians, we love what we're doing. We're passionate about it. And we have the best job because we get to share the love of music with everyone. Life is change, growth is optional, choose wisely. I think this is an important quote. And I think that we have really experienced life has changed the last year and a half with the pandemic. And I know that I have grown exponentially just learning how to work and teach online. I hope that this will be over soon, but I know that I have learned a lot that I will take back with me into the real classroom when it does. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit. I think that I expect 100, I always tell my students, I give you 500%. The least you can do is give me 100% when you come to class. So I and constantly expecting excellence from them. I am easily satisfied with the very best. If you do your best work, then we will all be happy. I love this quote. There are no bad choirs, only bad conductors. You know, the choir is a direct reflection of the conductor. So if something is not good, it is not the choir's fault. It is the conductor's fault. If something does not go well, I need to look at myself and say, what can I do differently to help the choir, to help the singers in the choir attain their goals? There is a great man who makes every man feel small, but the real great man is the man who makes every man feel great. I feel like we have an opportunity to make every person feel good about themselves and to really make them feel valued when they come to choir. And if they do feel like an important part, then they'll work much harder and even their musical skills will grow even greater. People will forget what you said, they will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And I think that the way we conduct our rehearsals in terms of the way that we relate and communicate with our singers is really important because we want them to love music for the rest of their life. From one of my dear mentors, Helen Kemp, the art of teaching is the heart of reaching one child, one soul, one person, one at a time. So even though we have a choir of, could be 100 people, the interactions that we have with each individual is very important. All the things we achieve are things we have first of all imagined, and this is going to lead us into our planning. So I start with have a plan, and you want your rehearsal plan to have creativity. You want it to be creative. You want it to have variety and address all the learning styles of the singers in front of us. So oral, kinesthetic, and visual. You want it to have great substance. And we also want to work smarter and not harder, meaning that we're going to multitask what we do so that our warm-ups are going to be connected to our sight reading exercises, which is going to be connected specifically to our repertoire so that everything is connected throughout the rehearsal. I love this quote from the Diane McMurran article, Building a Children's Choir. And this is about rehearsal strategies. You want to engage as many senses as possible. While singing, we hear, we see, we feel. We want to provide instruction through the following learning anchors: oral, visual, and kinesthetic. And then Mac's plan, Diane McMurran, was that in every rehearsal or music enrichment activity, she would try to include movement, creating, singing, playing instruments, listening, and notation. And I think by trying to involve all of those activities within a rehearsal, she was able to keep everyone's interest and be able to reach every student wherever they are in terms of how they learn. Now, are we going to be able to do all of that in rehearsal? Probably. In a choral rehearsal, probably not. But if we think about how we can vary our activities, it's going to keep the interest and the growth going at all times. So I'm going to focus mainly on warm-ups for this session because I think warm-ups unify the choir. It unifies our sound. It's the best place to teach vocal health and vocal technique. So I'm going to be mainly focusing on warm-ups. And with a warm-up sequence, I like to think of it in 4 parts. We have body, breath, resonance, and intonation. And we have exercises for each of these components. And this whole entire sequence can be done in 8 minutes. Sometimes even less. System is comfort, meaning that if we follow these components, we can change the exercises that we use under breath or resonance or intonation. But if we follow this sequence, then we'll have a system. And singers are very comfortable when they have something that is known to them. I love this quote. The act of music making is framed in silence. When we have a concert, we have the same thing. The students will come on stage, or the singers will go on stage and take their position. There's silence before the music starts, and there's silence before it ends. So I think in terms of a rehearsal, it's really good to start with the same idea of silence and focus. So we can create a visual symbol that gets everyone's attention, and that will draw them back into an artistic mental attitude. So I'm going to share with you some warm-ups that I really love to use with children's choirs. And so I'm going to start with the first category, so to speak, of body. And these would just be the stretches that you use, or we'll do the shakedown and then the realignment so that we're lining up our bodies in terms of preparing ourselves to sing. When the students if we teach in school, they will carry book bags that weigh 25 pounds sometimes. So when they come in, they're already at a disadvantage in terms of how they've been treating their body with these huge book bags. So we want to get rid of all of that and realign ourselves. So we might do some stretches over to one side. We might touch our toes. We might bring one arm across, stretch everything out. The shakedown is simply you go right hand 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Left hand 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Left right foot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Left foot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then I instead of doing 8, 7, 6, I usually do 8 and divide it in half, do 4, divide it in half, 2, and 1. And that way it doesn't take too much time, but the kids love this. So it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. And that's just a fun activity to kind of get everything moving. Then what I would do is I would do a realignment. So we would think about the puppet string coming out of the top of our head. We would think our shoulders being released, our sternums lifted. We're putting our weight in the center of our body, feet are shoulder width apart, knees slightly bent. And then I always think, I am the best singer, so that I'm presenting myself to the world, and then I put my arms at my side. Posture. The singer's alignment provides an opportunity for beautiful resonance. So this is the container of our voice. So we want to make sure that we are modeling excellent alignment to our singers. Good posture, proper breath support, pure vowel sounds are the fundamentals on which beautiful choral tone is built. Sometimes I'll use alignment positions, meaning I'll say, okay, this is the most important position, standing up. So we'll talk about what's involved with standing up: puppet string, sternum, shoulders release, feet shoulder width apart, arms at our side, and we'll call that position 1. That way, if in rehearsal I'll say position 1, everybody knows exactly what to do. Then I'll say, what's the second most important one? They will say sitting. So we'll talk about not just sitting in a chair, but we'll talk about sitting up tall, both feet on the floor. You hold your music chest level so that you can see the conductor and your music. So that's position 2. Position 3, I'll say any old way you want to sit. And they'll lay all over their chair. So we know that that way in rehearsal, if someone has poor alignment or posture, I can simply show them a 2, and it will be a reminder to sit up tall. Or I could say everyone position 1, everyone will stand up into the right position. This is just a picture of the neighborhood children's choir, and you can see that they are in position 2. So the second thing I would do is breath. And I would do maybe 1 or 2 stretching exercises. Then I would do 1 or 2 breath ones, because this is going to be all 4 of these components are going to be done within 5 to 8 minutes. So the first one is a Christmas tree breath. So we breathe into the shape of a Christmas tree. Take a deep breath in and let it out. Deep breath in and let it out. So try to find, singing is a very natural thing. So we try to find as many natural activities that the children are going to be aware of to incorporate into their learning of singing. Birthday candles, let's say we're 5 years old, everybody put up 5 fingers. Take a deep breath in and blow out the candles. Then we might be 10 years old. Then we might even be 12 or 15. The sponge, I love this one. You take a sponge and you say, okay, I have a wet sponge in my hand. I'm going to wring it out. Then what's going to happen if I open my hand? And the children will be able to tell you it's going to pop back to its original shape. I'll be like, perfect. So we're going to take a deep breath in and we're going to wring out the sponge for 4. Then we're going to release. And when we release, the sponge pops back, but we take a surprise breath. And what I found is children can really relate to this because they feel the air go straight to their to their support area. The fireplace bellows would be the big bellows that you would use to blow into a fireplace. So we take a deep breath in, and we might do 2 bellows or 4 bellows. And the chip patterns would be shh, 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 and they would echo after me. I also use t, 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 t. And then I might mix them up. Those are really connected to our breathing. A buzz like a bee, take a deep breath in, bzzz, and then I'll take the bee all over the place. They have to follow the sound and the direction the bee flies. So we've done body, breath, and I want to have a transition because we're getting ready to sing. So I want them to transition into their singing voice. So we'll usually do some type of siren. So this might be a frisbee. I'll say grab a frisbee. Whee! And you're going to throw your frisbee and make the siren sound at the same time. Now I'm a bass, so my voice is going to be lower, so I cannot make the sounds that I'm going to, in terms of as high as I want them. So I might demonstrate one, and then I might ask someone to demonstrate for us, and I'll make sure that they do it at the top of their voice, and then everyone has a good model to listen to. I'll do the same thing with the softball. If I take a softball in your hand, we're going to throw the softball. Woo! Same thing with an ambulance. Woo! 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 I really, really love that one. Also, what I love about this is it gives me the opportunity to call on individuals to be leaders, but also it helps me in terms of assessment know where everyone's voice is, who is having trouble matching pitch, who might have some vocal hoarseness that day, and it's great for vocal exploration. I'm including this vocal vibes. I think this is a great thing by Madeline Bridges. This, to me, is vocal exploration, but you're also looking, you're seeing different concepts, different rhythms, and you're making different sounds. So they're visually seeing it and they're physically doing it. So I'll give you an example of this. Let me see if I can do, you can probably see my pointer. Wee! Yeah, yeah, hoo, hoo, hoo. Hee-haw, hee-haw. Wah, 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 scoo, scoo. No, no. Ain't this fun? And I think they love this activity. Sometimes I'll have one child do each block and then everyone can echo, or everyone can simply do it together after they've learned them. But I think this is a great way for vocal exploration. I think it also, we're making vocal sounds. They're reinforcing note reading, note values, melodic contour, crescendo, decrescendo, the difference between high and low sounds, and then multiple voices as well. So they're listening to singing voices, speaking voices, whispers, all of that. It's from this book, Sing Together Children by Madeline Bridges. So the third thing is resonance, and this step is skipped many times, but the resonance is important because we want to have a beautiful sound, but we want the sound to be bright and have lots of energy and vitality in it. So sometimes if you don't have a resonance exercise, it's going to get the sound gets swallowed up in the back of the throat. So here's 4 different ones that I might use. I wouldn't use all of these. I would only use maybe 1 per day and then go on to my unifying vowel sounds. So for humming, I'll have them go. I'll say this is the mask of your voice. You're going to see if you can feel the buzz in your cheeks, and then we're going to sing in a phrase. Another good one for resonance is ping pong. Ping pong, ping pong, ping, 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 ping pong. So they have their ping pong paddles and they go straight to the NG. Ping pong, ping pong, ping, 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 ping pong. Another would be, say your grandmother is really mad at you and you've been bad and she's going to come and she's going to nag you. So she's going to go, nya, 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 nya. So it's going to be really sounding. Now, when I do something like this, I'll do 2 or 3 really ugly ant ones, and then I'll say, then we're going to add space to it. So it'll be nya, 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 nya. Then we add a little more space each time. Another one that I like is hung. You go to the NG and then open up to the ah. Hunga. So those are 4 that would be good for resonance and putting the sound forward. From resonance, this is just to remind you that to always have them physically doing something when they're singing, because the kinesthetic is really important. So every movement should have some type of, every warm-up should have some type of movement. It gets you to your natural state of singing, takes the focus away from the voice, and gives them musical direction to the exercise. So after we did resonance, I would go into intonation. And these are just some that are some of my favorites for intonation. So if we did, let's say we did humming for resonance, I might transition into so circle your lips to remind yourself of the perfect shape and then send the sound out into the world. And I might transition from that one after a few repetitions into Hallelujah. So we're going to bless our ah to remind the shape and then sing into a phrase. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Another one I love is the me, me, ma, mo, mu with the Henry Leck move, Henry Leck kinesthetic moves. Henry Leck, there's a book at the end of this called Creating Artistry by Henry Leck that has a lot of really great information. So this would be me, me, ma, mo, mu. So me, think tall, me crosses over, ma, mo, mu. Me, me, ma, mo, mu. Another one I really like is zing-a-mama, 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 zing, zing, zing. That's also a good resonance one, but I don't like to put that one at the very beginning. Zing-a-mama, 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 zing, zing, zing. And notice I'm always doing something to give them a direction. Because this goes fast, the flick reminds them each one is new. Zing-a-mama, 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 zing, zing, zing. Another one I really love is Nivu, 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 ni. So we're singing in a phrase, connecting, and then on the last one, they have a crescendo and a decrescendo. Nivu, 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 ni. One that I like for range extension would be, let's do this one, D. Doobie doobie doo, doobie doobie doo, doo-wah. Doobie doobie doo, doobie doobie doo, doo-wah. Because they need space, particularly on the higher pitches, I usually say, put your hand right here, and you're going to think lots of space only on the high note. The other ones we want regular space. The high one we want lots of space. Doobie doobie doo, doobie doobie doo, doo-wah. I'll put breath button because many times when you're doing repetitions, many times I'll say between each one, touch your belly button, and you're going to make sure that you feel your breath there. So we call it breath button. So we might have doobie doobie doo, doobie doobie doo, doo-wah. And then they would have their breath button that they would fill the air between each repetition. So with warm-ups, you want to give validity to the process. Every warm-up should have a purpose. Sirens vocal slides are really, really great for those that are having pitch issues, because if they can slide around the pitch, they can hear the pitch, or they can sing the pitch. And back to the basics, I find with particularly younger children, if they're making the right shape, they're probably going to make the right sound. Many times we do too much manipulation, and which is sometimes when we'll get really hooty sounds, because everything gets sucked up in the back of the throat. So I think keeping that vibrant, alive sound, so it doesn't get so far back, is important. But usually the right shape is the right sound. Practice without improvement is time wasted, meaning as you're going through the repetitions, give them ways to mold the sound. You are molding the sound to what you want to hear. So give them ways that they can fix this. This needs to be in 7 words or less, or just by simply showing them space or reminding them about the kinesthetic. There's lots of nonverbal things that you can do that are very effective. But if you don't give them any feedback and they're just standing there singing, after the 3rd repetition, their minds are on something else. So you have to keep them actively involved. If you hear or see something wrong and you don't correct it, you have just set a new standard. Just remember, if they are making an error and you don't fix it immediately, they're learning it, which makes it so much harder to correct later. So if you hear or something that's not correct, immediately stop and fix that. So solfege, it's all about the process that you use. I love solfege. I think it's like a great tone builder. With young kids, like there's some that are in 2nd and 3rd grade there. I start with body solfege, and then from body solfege, I'll transfer them to the curl and hand signs, because I think those are very important for them to know. What I found though with body solfege is that a lot of the kids don't really feel the difference between do, mi, do, but they do between do, mi, do. So I'm just going to review body solfege with you. Hands on your hips would be do, re crosses over, mi, fa, so is on top, la, ti, do, do. And then if we come down, do, ti, la, so, fa, mi, re, do. And I have had a lot of success with body solfege with younger children, just because they can really feel the difference in the interval. There's lots of great warm-ups that you can use with solfege. You can do it if you're just learning it. It could be do, do, re, do, do, re, mi, re, do, mi, fa, mi, re, do, because you're reinforcing the symbol, the sound. Then once they learn that, you can do it in a round. Lots of times when I think transitions and rehearsal are really important between songs. So I might sign something for them if we're getting ready to sing. So I might say, our next song is this one. There's your do. See if you can sing this in your head. Then I'll say, does anybody know what it is? Someone might raise their hand. I'll say, great, I'm gonna do it one more time. Sing it again in your head. There's do. Then someone will be able to tell me that's Pia Jesu from a piece that we're working on. I'll be like, great, can you all sing with me in my hand? Do, re, mi, so, la. La, so, fa, so, mi, do. So they're seeing it visually, they're thinking it inside their head before they actually sing it. So the most important component of the warm-up sequence is the connector, which is similar to the transition that I just did with the do, re, mi, so, la. So a connector just connects you to the next thing that's going to happen in your rehearsal. And I think it's very abrupt if you do your warm-ups and then you just go into the next thing, either a sight reading activity that has nothing to do with it, or repertoire and it has nothing to do with any of the warm-ups you did. So you always want to think through your repertoire, and you want to pick connectors. A connector might be maybe they're doing something in a foreign language, and you could create a warm-up out of some of the text that will reinforce it. Maybe you already know that a specific interval is going to be an issue in the song. So maybe you create a warm-up around that interval that addresses that issue. Maybe you have a song that's going to be long and sustained. So you probably want to do something with a lot of breath support. Maybe you're doing a Handel piece and you need something with melisma. to connect to that. So you always want to think about where you're headed in the rehearsal and how you can connect it so that you have a golden thread that goes through your entire rehearsal. I'm going to share with you a warm-up that I created for Fidelia Omnia Mandata Eius, which is a Pergolesi piece. So I might show the students this and I would say, speak after me. T, tiki, tiki, t, tiki, tiki, t. T, tiki, tiki, t, tiki, tiki, t. Beautiful. Then I would say, look at this one. T, tiki, tiki, t, tiki, tiki, t. Can you sing that with me? T, tiki, tiki, t, tiki, tiki, t. Then I would say, let's look at this. Can you sing this? Mandata Eius with me. Mandata Eius. Now I would use my kinesthetic would be the little man climbing the mountain, pausing at the top and coming back down, because this right here is going to be the problem. And if you can enforce it with a kinesthetic, reinforce it with a kinesthetic, you're gonna fix your problem before you even start. So you have Mandata Eius. Then I would pass out the music and I would say, can you please find this in your music? This is Fidelia Omnia Mandata Eius. So I would show them the music and I would say, turn to page 8. Can anybody find that specific example on page 8? Someone will be able to say, someone will say, I see it here, and I'll say, where is here? And they'll have to figure out, this is 29, 30, 31, measure 31. I'll say, everyone put your finger on mandata and measure 31. Then we'll sing together, Mandata Eius. Then I'll say, I'm gonna sing something else on the page. See if you can find this. Doobie doobie doo. Doobie doobie doo, doobie 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 doo doo. So I am singing at measure 35. I would do, I always have kinesthetic. I would do juggling for the 16th notes, and then I would do the crescendo, sing through the longer notes. So it would be doobie doobie doo, doobie doobie doo, doobie 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 doo doo. They would be able to tell me measure 35. I would say, great, I want you to check it. I'm gonna sing it one more time. And then I would have them sing with me after that. That way they've heard it at least 3 or 4 times, and then they're ready to sing it. And then I would add the text. Then I would say, I've got one more thing on this page I want you to look for. I would say, do, 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 do. So I'm doing what I call trampoline man, because I want a little kind of stress on the first beat of the half note, and then I'll throw the baseball. So this will be at measure 32. I'd say, everybody see if you can find it on the page. Do, 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 do. Beautiful. Someone will say measure 32. I'll say, perfect. Everybody check it. I'm going to sing it one more time. You look at the notes while I'm singing it. Then I would have all of them sing with me. Then I would say, you've learned almost this entire page. I would sing the first phrase for them, and they would come in on Mandata Eius and sing to the end of the page. And that may be all I do with them, because if I'm doing this with, say, 5th grade or 6th grade, that's 10, 11 years old, I probably don't need to spend more than, if a good indicator is their age. So if they're 10 years old, you should probably change activities every 10 minutes. If they're 12 years old, you can go a little longer. If they're 6 years old, you want to go even shorter. So it's about 6 minutes an activity. And that will just keep them actively involved. Now I'm going to play you just a little of Fidelia Omnia, because I think you would really enjoy this piece by Pergolesi. So that gives you just a little idea of how this piece goes. So this is Fidelia Omnia Mandata Eius. It's by Henshaw Music. I think it's a great introduction to Latin, great curricular connections for the students with history, social studies, the composer, the time period. I love all the energy and the melisma throughout the piece and all the kinesthetic that I can add to that. And it's available from Henshaw Music. I hear and I forget, I see and I remember, I do and I understand. Meaning if we can physically involve them in the process and they're physically doing something, they're going to keep, it's going to ingrain it in their body. Repetition. A class may need to hear a song 4 to 6 times before most students are able to sing it accurately. So we want to keep them actively involved in the listening process by adding a new task to each repetition. So they're going to need to hear something 4 to 6 times. How many times can we do it and add one more musical thing each time? And I just want to remind you that when you're doing your warm-ups, when you're doing your repertoire, everything is connected. So the goal is that we have a thread that runs through the entire rehearsal that connects everything together. I'm going to put my email here. If you have any questions, feel free to email me, tshelton@rider.edu. And I'm really looking forward to hearing all of your groups.